All right, preparing live stream, so we'll go live in about 30 seconds. You'll be ready to start.
Okay.
Hey, Brian.
Your cue, Brian.
Still let me know.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
In the on the box at the top, there's a little 3 dots. It says start video, but it won't let me start it now because you got me locked out.
There you go.
Let's see what happens.
And we are live.
Nope.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's school board meeting. Thank you for joining us. If you would all please rise and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And
and to the republic for which it stands,
Hands.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good evening. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Opportunities for public participation will be permitted in accordance with policy 167.3. Paula, do we have anyone signed up to talk? Is she here?
I have a no on email.
Okay. Then we will go into the, since there's no public comments, we'll go straight into the consent agenda. Dr. Arthur, did you have anything for that or just ready to go in for?
I do not. Ready to go.
Okay. We will go, since there's no discussion on the consent agenda, we will go straight into the vote. Can I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we can approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Debbie. I will now do the roll call vote. Debbie?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Myself, yes. That was a motion made by Steve, seconded by Debbie, and motion is moved 5-0. We will now go on. There is no student field trips. We will go on to other business. Dr. Arthur?
Thank you very much. This evening, I'm going to ask you all to consider an action item. It's just kind of come upon us pretty fast here, but it's one of those things that is really out of our control. Veteran approached me about 2 weeks ago asking if we would be willing to sign over a portion of our property at Martinsville High School for 180 days post the completion of the I-69 section that passes the high school. So basically, once they finish I-69 by the high school, there would be a 180-day window by which Veteran would continue to own an easement. And I'll talk about that easement here in a second. They would continue to own it for 180 days to correct pavement, to correct any damage they do to lawns, anything that they might tear up during that process, which would be minimal. Basically, what this easement is an area that's near the church that sits between basically the fairgrounds and I don't know what that's.
That would be the Nazarene Church, Dr. Arthur.
Thank you very much. Basically between the Nazarene Church and our property, there's a gas line that's existing that just needs to be moved or upgraded. And so they're gonna have to do quite a bit of digging in that area, which is mostly grass. This should not impact any of the functions at the high school. So again, this is signing that easement over to them for a period of time, and we would then regain that easement back 180 days after I-69, that section right by the high school is complete. So I'm asking tonight for you all to vote on approving that so I can get that moving for I-69. Does anybody have any questions about that?
And did you say when the easement was good for? What were those dates?
So it will be effective as soon as, if you guys approve this tonight, as soon as we sign it and get it to them. So the next couple of days. So we would, in essence, be turning over the sliver of property. It's literally a 30-foot wide swath that they're going to have to dig, a 5-foot trench but they need room to maneuver things around. And so equipment, that kind of stuff, to put the new gas line in. Once the gas line's in, they will repair everything and put it back the way that it was, including any pavement cuts that they might have to make across the road there. We're not anticipating a lot of damage, and they're not anticipating a lot of damage, I guess I should say, but they will put it all back together. And again, that's part of why they sort of retain that 180-day basically deed to the property. But the deed reads that the deed would then turn right back over to Martinsville High School after that 180 days expires.
And
it would
again,
not
we do
affect
have
the-
this, I'm sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
it won't affect like if we're serving meals at the high school for summer, it wouldn't affect, it's,
No, anything that we would have to do,
Okay.
we might have to, I mean, there might be a day or two where they have to close the street right there, but if they do, we still would be able to route through the parking
Yeah.
by vocational to get to the back. So they're not cutting us off by any means. They might cut
Okay.
traffic being able to make a full circle around the high school for 2 days, 3 days, but it's not a long-term project in terms of cutting the pavement. Most of the work will be in grass areas.
gotcha. Thank
And
you.
we do have this verified that they will repair any damage done. Is that correct?
Yes, it's part of the actual agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. It's honestly, we work with them, or this is one of those things where they just go the other direction and make it happen. So, you know, we trying to be good neighbors with them and work with them, I think is probably the better way to get this done. And everybody benefits in the end. We get a better and improved gas line to the high school and the neighborhood that's adjacent.
I think our concern, Dr. Arthur, just make sure everything's put back in place like it was when they first start the project. And that's,
Yeah, similar to like the band lot, we have an agreement with a contractor involved in building the bridge that parking lot right now is a complete disaster. They have to come in and redo that parking lot and reset it for band. So you all agreed to that some time ago, probably prior to me coming to the district, but that's also written in that agreement. So this is a similar agreement. Most all of the I-69 agreements are being done by the same firm. And that's, I believe it's Ryland. That's the same firm that's doing this particular agreement.
I would like to ask for a motion to approve the veteran easement agreement, please.
I make a motion that we accept the veteran agreement with for this highway project.
Thank you, Dave. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Don. It has been moved by Dave and seconded by Don. Is there any discussion? I'll now take a roll call vote. Debbie,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Don,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next up, superintendent comments.
Thank you. I have several things I want to share. I know while it might seem like we're not doing a whole lot since we're doing us on our side in terms of administration, since a lot of things are happening with e-learning, we've been quite busy. So I wanted to update you all in the community on a couple things that have happened in the last month or so. First thing, we finally, I believe I talked last time, but if not, I want to reiterate, we did all of our bond work to pay for the field house. And so as a part of that, there was a credit rating check, all of those things. And I always want to update you on all of that. I believe I shared last time or 2 meetings ago that we were a AA+ credit rating, which is amazing. And that's to your amazing support for the budgeting and the way that we're budgeting and the way that we continue to make sure that we're using taxpayer dollars wisely. So thank you. What that ended up doing was in the last couple of weeks with Mr. Ogden's great work with our bond council, was getting that bond finally approved and done and closed, which took a couple miracles with COVID-19 in place and offices not open, but it is done. And so the $6.2 million to complete that project is now on our side of the fence and is in our bank. And so we're moving forward with those plans to get the field house, to get ground broken. Just to give you an update, I did meet, so thank you, Mr. Ogden, by the way. And then I did meet today with Mr. Arns and Mr. Mills, along with our contractor, Gillette Construction, they were awarded the bid a few weeks ago. We're just doing a preliminary meeting to talk about where the staging areas will be for when the project starts and what sorts of changes we'll have to make to parking lots, et cetera. We will be bringing more of that you know, a little bit later in the summer to share with folks before we come back to school in the fall. But there will be some shifts in parking lots, that kind of stuff, because that building will be sitting basically where the athletic student parking lot is. And so that parking lot will no longer be available. It will all be fenced. We also have to fence some of the parking lot where the larger parking lot for construction parking. The main drive will also have to be adjusted a little bit because the new building will come up right up to the edge of that pavement of that driveway. New sidewalks will go in. So there's just some adjustments that will have to be made. And so we're working very closely with them to figure out what's the best way to do that and have the least impact on bus traffic and walkers and all those kinds of things. So look forward to some more information down the road, particularly from most likely the high school principal to high school students and their families on what that will look like once we finalize some of those pieces. But again, it's super exciting to me. We finally are moving on this project, and I've known on the back end we've been moving on it because we're doing all the sort of the signing and the paper stuff. But to the average person who doesn't see anything happening on the construction site, it can kind of be a little frustrating. But we should have fencing going up in the next couple of weeks. There should be a construction trailer being placed, some of those things. So those are good signs that this project's on its way, and it will take about a year to complete. So that's news I have on that. We also, just to give an update on Brooklyn, which it's strange, we started Brooklyn before the field house project, and we still are a little bit behind on Brooklyn in terms of where the two projects are. We have funding for both. We have the dollars for both. Everything is good there. As you might recall, with the Brooklyn project, we had a setback with a floodplain issue, and we had to redesign basically the entire building. And so that took about added about a 4-month delay, I would say, to that project. We're finally done with all of the design work. The bids have gone out, or the bid requests have gone out. And so we hope next week to have a contractor named for that project. And I anticipate it typically takes another 6 weeks before ground is broken, that kind of stuff, or construction stuff starts showing up. So I'm hoping here late summer I can announce that we're starting the work at Brooklyn. That project will not take quite a year. I don't have the exact number of months, but it will not take quite as long as the field house is planned to take. Any questions about either of those projects before I go on?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Just want to make sure you guys were all aware and the community was aware. I just want to say thank you. Kudos to the John R. Wooden kids that came through today, as well as the parents that were super patient with us. And I especially want to thank the 40 or so administrators and nurse aides and folks that were helping us today at Wooden. It went off without a hitch. I believe it was smooth. We had a great deal of compliments from families, and I really appreciate their positive feedback. We worked pretty hard for several weeks as a group to make sure that we were thinking through all the different details that we needed to think through. And if anyone was awake bright and early this morning, it gushed. So it was an interesting start to the day. And then it gushed at the end of the day. So long story short, we got all the kids through, and I believe everybody felt very safe. Everyone was masked. People did exactly what we asked them to do. And again, as I've pleaded with everybody, a condition of us getting this plan approved was that we would all be masked and that we would follow the plan as it was described to the Board of Health. So I'm proud to say that I don't think we missed a beat, and I think that everyone was safe today, and I don't think we will have any issues as a result. We will continue through this process. We have another day at John R. Wooden tomorrow. And then next week we start, I believe, the high school Monday, Tuesday, Bell is Wednesday, Thursday, and all the elementaries are on Friday. So we will apply the same process and approach to getting all the things back to students that they need to get back. And it also gives them an opportunity to return their Chromebooks and library books and all those kinds of things in a safe manner. So that, again, has gone off well, and I really appreciate everybody's support on that. This was also an opportunity for teachers to begin to get into their classrooms and get some things. So the first half of Wooden's teachers were through this morning, and I think that went pretty well as well. I will remind everyone, just so everyone kind of keeps this in perspective, we deem this essential business because we need to get things back to get them ready for next year, as well as we know that there are people that will be moving on, moving out of town, moving to college, that needed things out of their lockers. And so that's how why we deem this essential business, and it's why we took it to the Board of Health for their approval. Again, just a general reminder, all properties are closed until July 1st, other than what we got approved in this plan. So that hasn't changed, and things will remain pretty locked down until that date. Athletics, I just want to bring to everyone's attention, there was a tweet that came out and some additional information that got retweeted by the IHSA regarding athletics. Mr. Staggs, I think, did a really nice job of sending out some information to coaches and to remind them and to remind others that are involved with athletics that just because the IHSA is excited and sent out information about July 1st and the governor, basically not having restrictions in place, that doesn't necessarily mean that public schools are prepared and ready to ensure that all the new guidelines can be followed. So currently, products to clean are not available. Processes are not in place to ensure safety of kids playing sports. There are a number of things that have to happen before that magically just starts back up, and it probably is going to look very different than it ever has before. So again, Mr. Staggs, I feel like did a really nice job of putting out some information to folks to remind them that while the IHSA may be saying, yes, things are released on July 1st, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to dive right back into things the way they were back before March 13th. There are too many things that we have to figure out. And he's working very closely with all the athletic directors in Central Indiana, Southern Indiana, to make sure that we're all doing the same kinds of things. As a result of those conversations, I believe, my opinion is that the IHSA is backed off a little bit on being quite so excited about July 1st being that magical day. So it is way early. We've got several weeks before July 1st. I anticipate we'll have a great deal of more information to share with folks about what that's going to look like. And again, our first thing has to be safety. It can't be anything other than safety. Once we have the safety box checked off, then things can become as normal as possible and we can hopefully get back in a groove. And obviously that's what everybody wants. So I just want to, again, remind everyone that we may have jumped the gun a little bit on that announcement, and we just need a little time to make sure that we're being safe. Graduation, again, I announced a couple of times this week, was on the radio. Graduation, we were going to ask seniors and their families to save the date for July 12th. We're not quite ready to release details because we're still working on what some plans might be. As of right now, we're thinking from the perspective that what the governor has put forth is what we should expect from the governor on July 1st and thereafter. But there could be variables that get put into place between now and then, depending on how the community reacts to what's in place and what's required. Meaning, if more people start to get sick and we get more restrictions, then we may have to adjust our plan. So we will have more than one plan for graduation on the 12th, depending on what our level of restriction is once we get to that date. So I'm being very careful not to overpromise or over identify what that will look like exactly until we get a little bit closer to July 12th. But please hold that date because that is our planned intended date of graduation. That is a Sunday, and it would be either afternoon or evening.
Lights to turn off.
Of course, we want to work around religious services. Final thing, I really want to say thanks to our community for all the senior support that's popping up. We have reached out to our local businesses, and I thank Mrs. Burke for her work on this. Reached out to local businesses and local folks in political offices and anyone we can get to listen to us right now. Ask them to decorate their storefronts, put signs up, anything that they can do to help celebrate our seniors and make them feel like there's a little bit more of a normalcy to the end of the school year. We're not trying to replace anything. We just want to make sure that our kids know that we care about them and that as a community as a whole that we're behind them and we know this has been a tough end to their school year. So kids are resilient. I know that, been in this business long enough to know that kids are resilient and they'll be okay. But it's super helpful to see those signs and know that people are encouraging you. So again, thank you to our community. And we, as I said before, we have a couple surprises up our sleeve as well, still coming. I know a couple of people have been a little impatient about knowing what those are. I'm sorry, but they're coming. And we, again, look forward to celebrating with our seniors very soon. So with that, that's all I have. It's a lot of stuff.
All right. And can you say anything though about maybe if there's any particulars or even if there's not about the military?
Oh, yes. So thank you for reminding me. We don't have that ironed out just yet because we're working with our local agencies to figure out what exactly we can do. But we intend to do some sort of celebration for our military, for our students who are entering the military, because we want to ensure that we're sending them off with all the support that we can. we know that a number of those kids, if we wait until July 12th for graduation for them, that they would not be a part of that graduation ceremony. And I believe last year before I came, you guys did something very similar for baseball, because I believe there were sectionals or regionals or something, and we're going to miss graduation. And so it will be very similar to that. That's my hope. What we're working on though is just how do we do that with the numbers and the social distancing requirements. So stay tuned, but yes, that is on our radar, and that will be happening sooner than later. Obviously, those kids will be packing up and shipping off, and we don't want to miss them.
All right. Thank you so very much. And now we'll go into board member comments, and I will start with Debbie.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say congratulations to the seniors. You know, we are so sorry that it ended this way, but you're still in our hearts, and we wish you the best of everything always. Thank you to all the admin, all of you guys. I know you've worked very, very hard, and you do it for the kids, and that's the neat part. And teachers and staff and students, you made it, and e-learning is over, and you've done an amazing job, and I'm very, very impressed, and we're excited for you.
Thank you, Debbie. Dave?
Yeah, congratulations to Manny. I want to throw in a couple things I just read recently. Lori Smith down at Perrigan Elementary, her 4th grade class, I think they did something pretty neat with this Zoom and e-learning, and they had a Zoom afternoon with a race car driver. Lori, she comes from a racing family anyway, so but her class Zoomed with race car driver Graham Rahal. So I think what a great experience for our students, and having an opportunity like that. And then in another area, on Kristen Love, our Wooden, our choir teacher there, her class had an interview with a Broadway singer actress, Michelle McConnell. Boy, just another great experience for our students. A race car driver, a singer, actress, but just great opportunities. And thanks to both those wonderful teachers for setting that up for students. And speaking as teachers, boy, I don't think we can thank them enough. Just a great job, not just for the whole school year, but also during this last 2 months. What teachers, you've just been awesome. Our school administration, our staff, our nurses, our maintenance. I know I can't mention everybody. I'm going to leave people out, but boy, just a great job. And that's all the people involved. That's what makes our corporation as great as it is for our students. Our central office staff, Dr. Arthur and his group, just great work. And as I wrap up, congratulations to our seniors, class of 2020. Best wishes, good luck. You're going to make some great things happen in this world. Again, our teachers, great school year. We thank you. And as I like to say, it's great to be in Artesian.
Thank you so much, Dave. Steve?
Well, being third in line, it kind of makes my statements redundant, but I want to, first of all, congratulate our class of 2020. Also want to congratulate their parents, which President Ball, I happen to know that you're one who has one graduating this year. And I know it's been a long haul for both. And I want to thank all of our student body for all their efforts this year. And we certainly didn't anticipate this school year coming to an end as it has. Want to extend our appreciation once again to our staff, our faculty. And I'd also like to extend again our appreciation to our administration, Dr. Arthur, Mr. Buckler, Mr. Ogden. I could go on, but like Dave said, I'm afraid I would miss somebody. But, you know, it just goes to show it takes a village, and together as the board and the entire school system, we've all succeeded, and we've made the best that we could out of a bad situation. So my congratulations, my thanks, my appreciation from one school board member to everyone else.
Thank you, Steve. Dawn?
Yeah, I would like to recognize and thank everyone in our community for working together through this pandemic. These are difficult and unprecedented times, and I think we've all managed them very well. To our graduating seniors, I'd like to say congratulations. You've been shaped by your parents, your guardians, your families, your schools, and the community of Martinsville. And even though we have not been able to have a normal celebration of your accomplishments, You have certainly earned your degrees here at Martinsville High School, and you've been properly prepared for what lies ahead. So best of luck to the seniors.
Thank you, Dawn. And I thought this was going to be easier when I first started, and I think I can almost hear my friends saying, "Suck it up, Buttercup, and get this done." So I will get through this the best that I can.
Do we need some cowbells for you or anything to get you going?
I may be embarrassing Cowbell Nation right now, actually. I know many of the kids in the class of 2020. I'm friends with their parents, and I've gotten to know their children through sports and activities. Many of them are like my own children. But there is one student I would like to tell you about. The person is real, but the name is fake. I will call him Jack. Jack is living on his own, working to finish high school. And Jack's mom and dad are not in the picture. Over the years, Jack has learned what is right and what he needs to be successful. He understands that everything starts with a high school education. Jack could easily have quit school, but through his determination and the support of teachers and staff at the MSD of Martinsville, he will be part of the graduating class of 2020. Jack wants to be a firefighter or a mechanic. Why am I telling you about Jack? Because Jack is only one of many students who are doing this all on their own. Jack may have eaten in your cafeteria. Jack may have been taught by many of our teachers and aides. Jack had several principals, counselors, and deans. Jack had an admin team make decisions that impaired his entire scholastic career. Jack is a product of a village, our village. Each one of you can take pride in knowing that you helped this young man and many others like him succeed. I have always said that I am on the school board for the kids. Jack is a wonderful example of our successes, but there are many other accomplishments throughout our school system, and I am proud to be a little part in the big picture. Okay. And
Well said, President.
thank you. And now we will adjourn. If I could please have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Dawn. I'm so sorry. That was Dawn, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Is there any discussion? That motion was made by Steve and seconded by Dawn, and I will do the roll call vote. Debbie?
Yes, sorry.
Dave?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion carries 5-0. This will conclude our meeting for this evening. We thank you all for joining us. Our next school board meeting will be June 18th at 6:30 p.m. Please stay tuned. We will let you know how that's going to be once we know, and we'll see what we can do at that point. So hopefully we can all meet again soon in person. So thank you all so much. Have a great evening.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Thank you.